think we just want to help people to be better, smarter consumers of their health insurance plans.
Even if our family and friends think that we're insane.
And they're the only people listening.
Welcome to Under the Coverage.
During each episode, we interview people, sometimes it's just each other,
who spend their working days focused on health benefits and health care.
As consumers, we want the same thing you do.
We want the entire system to be less complicated.
Our guests share insights about how they navigate healthcare and the health benefit systems. I'm Jolene Myers.
And I'm Sarah Flusky.
And we're ready to lament,
complain,
empathize,
and maybe help a few people.
Hey, Jolene. We are back for another season because we did not solve the complexities of navigating health insurance. There's more to learn and new tools to discuss, and we found a lot of great guests to help us continue the conversation this season. So we're going to continue to focus on consumer education. I think most employees probably look at the 2-page overview of benefits, and maybe that's it.
Yeah,
so
where it stops.
That's where it stops. But there's more to it. There's another plan document that includes details that you might not want or need to understand until it's an urgent or emergent situation, which is usually when you go looking for these things. And I think most people probably spend more time researching a vacation than they do in really understanding their benefits, when in truth, your health insurance and healthcare probably cost you more.
Yeah, over time. And I recently went to Disney, to Magic Kingdom for the first time in my 40 years. I don't think it was the most magical place on earth. Perhaps that's
for
because
you.
I have a 3-year-old and a 9-month-old, A, and B, it was spring break week. I know I am a rookie Disney traveler.
That's the worst.
Yeah. I also, and I feel like I'm aging myself, but I'm an elder millennial, so I should be used to technology, and I think I do a pretty good job. But there is a Disney app that you download, and within that app, there's a map that lets you know how long the waits are for all of the rides. And navigating that was challenging for me because I felt like I was staring at my phone more than I was looking around at the settings, which, by the way, the characters are like non-existent unless you pay extra. And that's a whole other podcast episode. But it got me to thinking about the price comparison tool, which I know we're going to talk about within this quote unquote season 2, and how, it's all a learning curve. So all of this investment of time, planning a vacation and understanding an app and all of the features is kind of similar to the healthcare journey, which again is not always as pleasant, but depending on who you talk to. So there's some comparisons.
No, I think you're right. But I would argue that most people probably spend more time researching Disney than trying to understand your benefits to the same depth and what's in the portal and all that stuff. And I don't know if it's because the goal is to have just a good time in a short time. So you just like dive in and you want to know it all. But honestly, I feel like you need some sort of Disney PhD. We went in July 2022 and I watched more YouTube videos and read more blogs trying to figure it out. Instead, I just hitched my wagon to somebody else's star, and she knew exactly, she had season tickets. She knew how to use all of the things. So we did all of the things, but knowing all of that, she helped us have a much better vacation than we could have had just kind of skating through, like you're saying, trying to understand it, being an infrequent visitor. It's a one-shot deal. Not sure when you'll be back. It's a different, you have a different experience. I feel like that's what this whole podcast is trying to help people understand that we can help them find the Disney PhDs so that they can be better at using their health insurance apps on a day-to-day basis, so they don't feel like it's a pop in and pop out. It really is something that impacts kind of the backbone, unfortunately, of American life, having health insurance coverage.
And when you know better, you do better, as they say, whoever they are.
I wonder who said that first.
I know.
You're pretty smart.
I think it's the change in behaviors, which we touch on a little bit in an engagement piece later in the season, which is a very difficult task. And the more people use the various tools that are out there, I think the better we'll become as healthcare consumers. But right now it seems overwhelming. And, I think we'll get there. As I mentioned, the price comparison tool, more people that dive in and use it and understand it, I think it's going to change and evolve as time goes on, and we'll see.
I agree with you. I think there's just so much to learn, and I feel like it feels overwhelming and perhaps unnecessary, because maybe you won't use all those things, but use all of the services and benefits that come as a part of your core benefits package. But at least understanding them is helpful. And I know from just hearing issues in the office about somebody who was on vacation, had an accident, had to be medevaced back to the States, your day-to-day health insurance doesn't cover that.
Mm-mm.
That's repatriation. So we're going overseas, and now I want coverage for that, because I want to be sure that I'm not just covered by whatever I have in my domestic health insurance plan, but that if I travel away and need emergency care, because that's really what some of this insurance is for. There's your preventative services and all those things that you want and need to get done. But then there's the unexpected, the unforeseen. And now I'm reading plans for repatriation coverage. Who am I? I want to understand what am I covered for if I have to get flown back? What am I covered for if I go into anaphylactic shock because I found out I'm allergic to something while I'm overseas? What hospital can I go to? I'm actively thinking about this now. Maybe it's age, but maybe it's also just talking to other people about the things that they think about from the chair they sit in because of the job they have from 9 to 5, and then how they sort of use that information between the hours of 5 p.m. and 9 a.m. I think we just want to help people to be better, smarter consumers of their health insurance plans.
Even if our family and friends think that we're insane.
And they're the only people listening.
Exactly.
They're never going to Disney with us, but maybe they'll call us if they need repatriation coverage.
We've got a lot to talk about. Really excited for who's on the docket this season, which feels weird saying season 2, but here we are. There's endless conversation around these fascinating topics.
So exciting. Maybe our next podcast can be about Disney. We'll just have to bring on really good guests, because I don't know how to do anything anymore.
The mouse will come after me if that's the case, because my reviews are not as pleasant as they perhaps would be for the Disney fans out there. And again, I have not traveled to Hollywood Studios or any of the other parks, but Magic Kingdom, not so magical for me.
But this season will be, so people should listen.
I agree.
All right. Well, I'm excited.
Me too.
This podcast was brought to you by Nova Healthcare Administrators. Do you have a question or a situation you'd like advice about? You can find us on Twitter at UNDRTheCoverage. If you're into email, you can reach us at podcast@novahealthcare.com. Don't forget to leave a review, give us a like, or subscribe, but more importantly, share. We'll find the insiders. You share it with the outsiders.